Hey, yo, welcome back to the Slowpoke. Well, now, I'll have a lot of comments all the time, people asking for budget decks. So I had a little look on YouTube to see what sort of resources are available for budget decks. And I have to say, I wasn't terribly impressed. Budget decks don't mean you can't play ultra rares, you just have to be clever about it. So I got 15 of the most exciting budget decks I can think of. Some of these decks are actually rather cheap. I was surprised at some of the real good decks you can build on a budget. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm taking a couple liberties with some of these lists. Now, I'm assuming anyone watching this can get their hands on a trainer's kit code, okay? You can get them on the Potown store. No, I'm not sponsored, by the way. You can get them on the Potown store for $7. That's going to give you a whole host of staples that are really good and universal for pretty much all these decks. If you can pick up two, I'd recommend two. If you're going to get one, that's fine. Now, the second thing you are going to need to build any one of these decks, you are going to need some Vivid Voltage pack codes, okay? And what we do with these, we trade these codes to get the cards that we need for the deck. So let's say for some deck you might need Gourmandise Snorlax, okay? Now the way we're going to do that is by trading about 3 packs for each Snorlax, okay? So at the time of recording, you can hop on eBay and get 36 Vivid Voltage codes for £5, which would be about $4, I think, somewhere in about. So we got about $10 or £10 worth of stuff that we're gonna need, okay? And I think that's a pretty good budget if you ask me. And it's worth noting these deck lists are all gonna be in a spreadsheet in the description, so you can copy and paste these straight into TCGO and get going with them, okay? But I'm gonna shut up now. Let's get to the fun stuff. Let's look at these decks, baby. Cheers. So our first deck is Quad Aegislash VMAX, probably the best deck here in my opinion. I've played this loads competitively and I think the deck is bonkers. Just goes to show you budget decks don't have to be boring. Let's have a look. So our deck revolves around Aegislash VMAX. VMAX Pokemon with 320 HP with the attack max hack. For 3 energy, do 160 plus 30 for each prize card we've taken. So it's a snowball deck. Once we get a KO or two, we're just gonna, the late game is gonna be able to KO anything. That's the idea. So we got ourselves the max hack. These go for about 3 packs, I think. We've got the Aegislash V, which is actually important as well. 210 basic V Pokemon with the attack slash 250. Don't worry about that. We've got Sonic Edge, which does 3 for 130 and goes for all effects on your opponent's Pokemon. The reason why this is so important, because this will let us get through stuff like Decidueye, which a lot of other these Quad VMAX decks can't. Now, the way we're going to grow our hand is with Snorlax, basic Pokemon 130 HP. And if it's in the active, you can end your turn and draw till you have 7 cards in your hand. Now, these are actually quite expensive. These are like 3 packs, but these are a good investment because moving forward, there's going to be a lot more decks that play Snorlax, and I feel as if it's only going to get more expensive. So feel free to hop on these Snorlaxes now, ASAP, Rocky. Everything else was about 3 packs, so. And then the trainers aren't really a great deal either. So yeah, this is actually a deck that I've played in the OPOP League and plenty of online events, and I think it is a killer. So make sure you check this deck out for sure. Right, so next up we got Golurk, big scale Pokemon, actually one of my favourite Pokemon as well. And Fist of Antiquity for 1 to energy, or 1-3 CE, you do 160 damage. That's a 2-shot on all the VMAXs and a 1 Frizer that only gives up 1 fire and attacks 1 energy attachment. Let me tell you, 160 for 2 energy is extremely efficient. The only downside is we can't play any supporters, which is fine, because we can double up and have a big thick line of this Chincino. Again, a consistency card which isn't too expensive now, but I can see getting more expensive as time goes on. So if you can pick these up now, I'd recommend it. What this Chincino lets you do, make do ability, lets you discard 1 card from your hand and draw 2 from your deck. So if you have 3 of these out, you can essentially see 6 cards before you attack. Pretty gnarly. We got 1 Oricorio GX. Doesn't go for too much, about a pack or 2 I saw. Basically, if one of your Pokemon was knocked out on your opponent's turn last turn, you can draw 3 cards. So if you have 3 Chincino and an Oricorio, you get to see 9 cards. That's not right. 2 or 6. Yeah. You get to see 9 cards, I should say, before you can do anything, right? Pretty bonkers. We got Cherish Balls to help us find our 2 donates from our trainer kits. We got buff padding to take our HP to 190 on our Golurk, which is pretty nuts. And then apart from that, there's a lot of consistency stuff. Worth noting, these Rotom phones are really cool, a new addition to the list. Lets you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, put one to the top, shuffle the rest back in. So now your make do can essentially be a lot better by letting you pick one card from your top 5. Pretty cool. One of the most fun decks here on this list for sure. Golurk. Okay, next up we got Wailord V. Look at this absolute monster. Basic Pokemon with 280 HP. That's almost as much as VMAX's. Oh my lord. And actually has some good attacks as well. So draw up lets you get 3 energy cards from your discard pile attached into this Pokemon. And if you can get yourself turn 1 for full value, really efficient, right? Ocean Waves, again, is pretty good as well. For 4 energy, mine, you flip 3 coins, you do 120 for each head. Now, 120 for 4 is terrible. 240 for 4 is okay. However, if you get 3 heads though, one shot of VMAX on a 2 prizer, you're probably thinking to yourself, Shay, apart from drop, how are we getting his energies on? We actually play some Frostmoth. Again, these aren't terribly expensive, but because it's such an efficient deck engine, this will get more expensive. Basically, you can attach any water energy from your hand to your benched water types as much as you like. So we're going to pile on the energies to our Wailord with our Capacious buckets and all that good stuff, and just start swinging. We have 4 Glimmer Tangles, which let us reflip the coins for our attacks once. So if let's say we get 3 tails, we can Glimwood and hopefully get 3 heads. So yeah, there is that. A deck again, which I was surprised how cheap it was to actually build, but again, this is a good deck. Like, you'll see this in tournaments, no cap. So yeah, got a bit of Wailord for you. Okay, next up we got ourselves straight Decidueye. Now, this is one of those decks where some games you'll just win because your opponent hasn't bothered to have an out the Decidueye. What Decidueye does, basically, it's immune to all damage from your opponent's V and GXs. So no tag teams, no Vs, no VMAX. It does cover VMAXs as well. So the idea is we're just going to try and make it as hard as for our opponent to, you know, KO like 4 of these in a game, you know, 3 of these, because then you get 1 prize. So let's say your opponent does have 1 out to it, right, to a Decidueye. Your attack is good enough to where you can get through that, because you do 2 for in the 90 and you 20 damage to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon as well. So the idea is if your opponent plays 1 out, you can just KO it, and then the next Decidueye can carry you through the game. So all we do is play those Snorlax again. So yeah, remember I told you about the Snorlaxes. We play forward then, so we can just make our hand nice and big to where we can then send out our army of Decidueyes. Really scary deck, to be honest. And like I said, there are some games where you'll just win because your opponent has no ally. Don't be surprised if, like, turn 1 your opponent sees the Rowlet and just concedes. The most expensive thing in this deck, funnily enough, are the Roses, but they are really good. Basically, if one of your Pokemon was knocked out, search your deck for a Pokemon trainer card and a basic energy card. So basically, if you get knocked out, you can just search rare candy Decidueye and an energy, and then you're good to go. So yeah, that is Decidueye, straight Decidueye Snorlax. Really good deck for sure. Right, so next up we got the big, bad, scary Donphan from Vivid Voltage. Really intimidating Pokemon. 150 HP, okay? With Earthquake, 1 energy, and I love 1 energy attacks. Oh, I love them. You do 120 damage and does 20 to all of your bench Pokemon. Now, normally doing damage to yourself isn't the greatest, but we can warp the deck to where that bench damage is actually beneficial to us. And we're going to play a 3-3 of Galarian Nagaguzz, I think. Basically, what this fine gentleman does, for 2 energy, which we do play, you can put, for each damage counter on this Pokemon, you can put 2 damage counters on, well, your opponent's Pokemon any way you like. So the idea is if you can just stack loads of damage on his Galarian Nagaguzz, basically your early game is going to be Earth. So your early game is going to be just Earthquake, 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 and you can just come in with like 2 or 3 spreading spite. Say that 3 times fast. Just clear up your opponent's board, you know. Really efficient 1 prize deck for sure. You know, you got your Martial Arts Dojo to increase that damage. You've got Memory Capsule, because it's worth noting the Pampy in this deck is also really good. Basically, for 2 energies, you attach 1 more, you do 30 for each damage counter on this Pokemon. As you can see, Donphan has 150 HP, so if your opponent needs too much damage on them, you can just attach 1 more energy and send them to the Shadow Realm, baby. So yeah, you got Donphan from Vivid Voltage. Right, so next up, you've got Cinderace from Sword and Shield. Now, This deck is probably the one I've played the most games with. Now, I've probably won the most with that Aegislash deck, but let me tell you, this is so much fun to use. Let me show you what. Cinderace is stage 2 Pokemon, 170 HP. With the attack, well, the ability Libero, I should say. When this Pokemon moves into the active position, you can attach 2 fire energies from your discard Pokemon to it, right? That's pretty cool. So let's have a look at the attack. For 3 energy, you do a whopping ground shaking 190, and then you discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. So the idea is you have 2 Cinderaces. The first one will use Flare Striker, put 2 energies in the bin. You can retreat from your first Cinderace into your second one, bang, another 190, okay? And 190 is a really good number. KO's Dedenne, KO's Crobat, and 2 shots everything else, and 1 shot Zacian as well. So this could be a really good deck in the post-rotation format, for sure. We're going to use Jirachis as a pivot. The Stellar Wish ability, because obviously we are stage 2, so we want to try and see as many cards as we can in a turn. Stellar Wish lets you look at the top 5 cards when it's in the active position, and you can pick 1 trainer, shuffle the rest back into your deck. So yeah, apart from that, the deck is really straightforward. There's loads of red kangaroos, loads of scoop up nets, limited energy, got those roses again. Yeah, this is a really fun deck, and that Libero ability, you will, this is like a pure one price deck, right? There's no Crobats. It's surprisingly hard for your opponent to knock out like 4 Cinderaces. So that's essentially what they have to do. Maybe KO 2 Jirachis and 4 Cinderaces to win the game. Doesn't really happen too often. So yeah, Cinderace, really good scary deck, and it might be a deck worth getting efficient with now, because in the post rotation format this could be a bit of a scary geezer for sure. Right, so next we've got Salamance VMAX. You're probably thinking, Shay, what are you on about? There's no way this can be budget. Trust me, I ran the numbers, and you can build this deck, but like I said, for like £5 worth of Vivid Voltage codes. And then that's how you get some exciting cards into this like Cramorant Vivid Voltage nonsense. We've got ourselves Salamance VMAX, baby. Let's have a look. 320 HP VMAX Pokemon with 2 attacks, Sonic Double. This attack does 40 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. Really cool. And then we've got Max Wings for 4 energy, you do 240 damage. So really clean numbers there. We're going to use Porygon Z to accelerate the energy. Basically, the stage 2 Pokemon, as often as you like, you can attach a special energy card from your hand to your Pokemon. And Colorless have some crazy support, let me tell you. First of all, you got 4 recycled energies, so you can just pile these on, and if you ever have to pay to retreat or anything, it comes straight back to your hand. So these are insane. You have to have as many of these as you can. Powerful energy, which stacks, so for each energy attached to your colorless Pokemon you do an extra 20. So now you start doing silly stuff, let me tell you. Capture energy, which when you attach it lets you get a basic from your deck to your bench. Really good for finding Porygons turn 1 or finding some alternate attackers in the mid to late game. And you've got 3 CE, which is going to let you get to that max wing attack, the 4 energy attack, a lot faster. Colorless, but again, we have some really good support. We've got Wailord V for our late game, pile on the capture. The powerful edges onto that. Now Revenge Blast gets stronger the later the game goes on. And then Cramorant just still then AKOs and beat catches. Really good turn 1 if you can get it, to let you get your rare candy Porygon Z. So yeah, Salamance VMAX. Woo! Right, so next up we got ourselves Charizard from Vivid Voltage. Now you can be a little bit cheeky with this. If you have 1,000 coins that you get for playing a game of TCGO, or if you haven't got them yet, save them, you can basically get the starter deck from Vivid Voltage twice, and that pretty much nets you all of this deck for the most part. Let's have a look. So Charizard stage 2 Pokemon, 170 HP. The ability Battle Sense, once in your turn you can look at the top 3 cards of your deck, discard 2 and put 1 into your hands. That's really cool, helping you mitigate some of the stage 2 consistency problems, whilst getting Leons in the discard pile. Probably thinking, Shay, why don't you get Leons in the discard pile for? Let me tell you, because Royal Blaze for 2 energy does 100 plus 50 for each Leon in the discard pile. So you can max up at 300 damage for 2 energy, no drawback. Or even if you can play a Leon for the turn and have 4 in the discard pile, you hit 330, which lets you KO VMAXs in 1 hit on a 1 prizer. Quite scary. So the rest of the list is just really focused on letting you do that as much as possible. We've got the Jirachi engine again. We know what Jirachi does by now. We also got this Mind Report Mewtwo, which you can get in the starter deck again. With the Mind Report, basically what you can do is when you bench him, you can get support from the top of your from the discard pile, put it to the top of the deck, and you can like try and Jirachi into it, letting you get back Leons. You can also use Eldegoss for that as well, but I didn't want to put too many 2 prizes in this deck, but you can use an Eldegoss V for that as well. And yeah, the rest of the list is just focused around getting that Charizard and getting to that Royal Blaze as fast as possible. This again could be a really good deck in the Sword and Shield on format as well, so it would be good to get proficient with it. But yeah, Charizard packs a punch, let me tell you. Jeez. Right, so next up we've got ourselves Hydregion box, and Hydregion is a really cool stage 2 Pokemon which lets you attach as many dark energy from your hand to your Pokemon in your turn. So the idea is we're going to play this big scary Hydregion and partner with some crazy dark type tag teams, which again don't actually require too much to trade for. The main one we want to use is this Umbreon Darkrai, okay? Because Black Lance was 150 and 60 to bench EX with GX. That's not very good. Dark Moon, though, for 6 energy lets you automatically KO your opponent's active no matter what's there, and they can't play trainers. Whoo, that's crazy. That's crazy. So you can Oko Eternatus VMAX, 340 HP. Boom, see you later. We've also got Sabltar tag team. Basically, for 5 energy, you can greedy crush and take 3 prizes on a Dedenne, or basically take an extra prize on your opponent's EX or GX. Mostly Dedennes though. We got ourselves Greninja Zoroark, which does 30 plus 30 for each of your dark energy you've got in play. Really good ramp attacker. And then you've got Hooper as a little interim attacker, 3 for 160, but Rogue Ring helps you set up your Hydreigon really fast because it lets you search your deck for 2 cards and put them into your hand. And the rest of the deck is pretty much just a lot of, you know, consistency and a lot of energy, so you can just get the Hydreigon and just get to work, baby. Hydreigon, the dark type attacking core is still insane years after it's come out. It's really cool. So yeah, Hydreigon bot. Right, so next up we've got Galarian Darmanitan VMAX, or G-Darm as I like to call him, and playing this deck makes me act like this. G-Darm, you absolute monster! G-Darm! G-Darm! Yeah, this deck is hella fun and exciting. So let's have a look. Basically, for 4 energy, you do max whiteout, 200 damage, and then 30 to all of your opponent's benched Pokemon. No drawbacks. Here's the idea. In combination with long view scope, for telescopic sight I should say, which makes your Pokemon do an extra 30 to your opponent's bench V or GXs. You know, I do 60 to the bench, which means sometimes you can just win if you just announce attacks max whiteout 3 times. You just KO all your opponent's Dedennes and Crobats. But just in case you don't, we've got the Alolan Sand Slash to fall back on. And what this lets you do for 3 energy does 100 to all of your opponent's Pokemon that has damage counters on it. So you can just see, like, if either one of these have like a long view scope on, bench damage is getting out of hand. So yeah, we've got Frostmoth to get the energies on. And apart from that, we're literally just consistency, energy, and then our attackers. That's all we are. No messing about. And this deck is so much fun. I think I'm going to do another video on it because it's that much fun. But yeah, Galarian Darmanitan VMAX. I can't believe how cheap this card is. Absolutely bonkers. So next we've got ourselves Green's Charizard. Okay, now I love Green's decks, let me tell you. So we got ourselves the Volcanion. Really, this is actually the most expensive card for the deck, funnily enough. But you got ourselves Volcanion. The Flare Starter, if it's your first turn, you're going second, you can search your deck for 3 energy cards and attach your Pokemon any way you like. That's really strong. High Heat Blast for 2 energy does 110. This is your Decidueye answer. So yeah, Volcanion is really clutch. We got ourselves Reshiram and Charizard tag team, 270 HP tag team Pokemon with 3 attacks. Outrage 2. You do 30 plus 10 for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So if your opponent leaves you on with like 250 damage, you can just strike back. We've also got Flare Strike. For 4 energy, you do 230. Again, a really nice number. One shots all non-VMAXs for the most part, right? For 4 energy, and you're basic and they're not, so yeah, that could be quite good. And you got Double Blaze GX. For 3 energy, you do 200. This is really nice for turn 1 pressure. When you like, okay, if your opponent's led, just drew past, you can like try and Double Blaze GX for game. If you've got another 3 energy attached there, you do another 100 damage, I should say, and it goes through all effects. So this also lets you KO Decidueyes as well. We've also got 2 of the Charizard breaks in. This one we'll be using more of, though. 270 HP tag team Pokemon. For 4 energy, you do Brilliant Flare. Sounds costly, but we have got Welders and the Flare Starter to be falling back on, which is 180. Crisp 2-shot on pretty much everything, and 1-shots Crobat to Dene. And let's just search your deck for 3 cards and put them in your hand, any card. So you can see, we're Green's decks. We've got a lot of sort of utility cards, right? We've got Jesse James, We got ourselves Hammers, we got ourselves Team Yelgor, Lieutenant Surge's Strategy, Malolana, right? We got a lot of these cool cards, which Bregzar will just let us pick out and use. We are Green's decks. We've got Green's Exploration as well, which basically, if you have no Pokemon in play abilities, you can search your deck for two trainer cards and put them in your hand. This will help us keep ticking over. So we've got ourselves Green's Bregzar, a really cool, fun deck for sure. Okay, our next deck is a Porygon Z deck again, but this time we're really focused on our Cramorant, because Cramorant, in combination with that long view scope that we saw on Galarian Darmanitan, there's 190 to the bench, and that carries that carries Crobat, also two shots, pretty much everything else. So Cramorant turns into this insane attacker, right? Obviously, you have to discard all your energy to use Split Shot, but if we have 4 recycle energies, that doesn't matter, we just get them straight back anyway. The idea is when I KO 2 of our opponents, Crobats or Denades, or just anything, basically leave ourselves on 2 prizes left. And then we can just turbo on a lot of energy to our Nagaguzz to do our Chaotic Order GX, which basically, if you have 1 Psychic Energy, 1 Dark Energy, and 1 Colorless Energy, you can essentially just take 2 prize cards. That's pretty much it. You can also do Jet Pierce for 180, which is a good clean 2-shot as well, not too bad. And then Violent Attack lets you discard a Pokemon from your hand and heal 60. It has come up before, to be fair. So all we're built to do is just Spit Shot, KO stuff. We've got a telescopic sights down here, and then just finish the game with Nagaguzz. A really fun way to play the game for sure, and it's really interesting. You have some really fun games with this deck, so make sure you give it a go. Okay, next we've got ourselves Lapras VMAX, and how nice does this card look? Really big powerhouse as well. Stage 1 Pokemon, VMAX Pokemon, 320 HP with the G-Max Pump Attack, 90 plus 30 for each water energy attached. So again, we're going to use Frostmoth, surprise, to just pile a whole load of energy on this Lapras VMAX. Just be like, right, I am just going to, sweep the board, and one Lapras VMAX can take a good 4 or 5 prizes on his own. Let's not mess about. So again, we are just energy, consistency in our attack. That's all we are. No messing about, no frills. Worth noting though, we have got the KLJ GX to really put the hurting on alternatives decks. You do 50 for each one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And Sonic Hedge also helps you get around some sort of safeguard Pokemon like Altaria mainly, not Decidueye though, because we are weak to Decidueye unfortunately, but hey, it's all fun and games really. Lapras VMAX. Okay, our last deck is Baby Blacephalon. An insane card. Let's have a look. Basically, for 3 energy, you do 50 for each 5 energy discarded from your hand. There is no upper limit to this. So you can discard 10 energy and you do 500. Okay. So here's the idea. Basically, if you want to just announce Fireball Circus twice into 2 VMAXs and win the game, or 2 tag teams. So our literally deck is 19 energy. Okay. Some Jirachi, Cramorant to just pick off the Denades and stuff. We've got our Oricorio as well to help us see cards. All we want to do is just get as many fire energies in our hand and just detonate. And that's why there isn't really a lot of other stuff you can do with this deck. It's all just so built to do that. But Blacephalon does that really, really well. And it's always going to be good until it rotates, because it can just detonate. Pretty crazy, right? Right, so I was actually editing the video and I realised that I actually forgot a deck, and it's arguably probably the best one on here, or one of the best. We got ourselves Eggrow. And what Eggrow does is really cool. It lets us cheat this Rillaboom into play, right? Obviously, Rillaboom stage 2 Pokemon. The awesome ability Voltage Beat lets you search your deck for 2 grass energies and attach them to your Pokemon, right? Normally it's a stage 2, so it can be a bit of a faff to get out. But with Rowegg, for 0 energy mine, you can... so if you've got the basic in play, so you've got Grookey in play, you can search your deck for the stage 1, evolve it, and then if the stage 1 evolves, search your deck for the stage 2 and evolve it. So in one turn, if you go in second, we should always opt to go second with this deck, you can get Rillaboom out straight away. Now, then we can start getting on the offensive with the Calming Hurricane, which is 150 damage and heals 30, which is good numbers. Or if you can get 6 energy onto this Rowegg, you do 200 damage and shuffle in all your opponent's energy that's attached. Pretty crazy. If you're after a bit more of a heavy hitter, we do play a thin line of the Rillaboom VMAX, which does for 4 energy 130 plus 50 for each grass you discard from this Pokemon, but you can only discard 3. So you can top out at 280, real big number, one shot's ADP. But another wrinkle to this deck now is that you get Zarude V, basic Pokemon 210 HP with the Jungle Rising. That's the attack we're focused on. Does 100 damage and you can attach up to 2 basic energy from your hand. If you do, you can heal all damage to the Pokemon you attach energy to. So you can split it and go 1-1. What this essentially means is if our opponent can't one-shot our Roweg or one-shot our Rillaboom VMAX, we can essentially heal them for free, and get energy back on them and get this opponent into a real hard loop where they're not really taking KOs, or if they are, it's only going to be Zarude V anyway, and we just bang, hit him with a Rillaboom or hit him with a Roweg again. Pretty cool deck for sure, and I couldn't believe how cheap it was to build. So let me know what you think. Let me know if I've missed off any of your favorite budget decks. I might do a part 2 if there's enough sort of reception for it, so let me know. But thank you for watching as always. If you have the more Pokemon TCG content, comedic, deck profiles, deck list, all that good stuff, make sure you smash that subscribe button down there for me, okay? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.